Welcome back. It is Bones, and let's go ahead and do a top 10 list. Now, I thought about making this list because there are certain figures that I just really enjoy. I really enjoy posing them and moving them around, and the way they look just, does something for me. I really appreciate the work they did with the sculpt work and the attention to detail. And a big part of this list is going to be that these are all figures that are still reasonably priced and easily accessed. If you go online, you might be able to get them under retail or a little bit more than $20, which is awesome. But these pretty much are figures that I feel are must-haves in your collection. And if I go ahead and show you some figures that you never took notice of, then my job will be complete. Because I think these are some top tier figures that do not get a lot of love, and I just wanted to focus them in this list. Now, as I said, these are all basically standard release figures. There are a couple that aren't, and there is one collectible figure, but they are still reasonably priced. I mean, if you look for them, you can still get them for a pretty good price. So, woo! Let's go ahead and kick it off. We're gonna go with number one, and number one is going to be the Dark Multiverse version of Duke Thomas. Now, this figure is pretty cheap right now. You could probably find him under retail, but he is an awesome figure. Just the heftiness, the sculpt work, the design is just awesome. I mean, if you like doing figure photography and stuff like that, all of these figures are right up your alley because they are really photogenic.
Pretty big word for a man whore.
And this one in particular just has so much sculpted detail in him. I mean, just looking at him, even from down into the gauntlets and down into the boots, you could see all of the scaling and intricately detailed stuff that they put into. Now, the head is another thing. It's just very unique to this figure. I think there's a discrepancy between the way this figure looks and the way he looks in the comics. So I may eventually pick up a third one of these so that I could custom paint it. But as he is an awesome figure. He has a cool cape, some, signature McFarlane spinal work done even underneath the cape and even on top of the cape. So that's pretty sweet. And he's just a cool figure to have in your collection. If you do not have him, I would pick him up. Just like if someone were to see this figure on your desk or displayed and they don't know what he is or where he's from, he's just a beautiful looking figure. Now, he does come with his sort of battle axe guitar, which is really appreciated, and he's fun to pose with that. So that is why he's number one on the list. Now, coming in next at number 9 is Wally West Flash. Now, this figure had been released a long time ago. He's still not that expensive online, but he's another beautiful figure based off of the Buck from the Rebirth Flash, but he does have his own signature color scheme, and the way he looks. And what takes this guy to the next level is that head sculpt. One of the first times that I took a look at one of the McFarlane head sculpts and just fell in love with it. It looks good any way you pose him, has a sort of semi-realistic look to him. And the proportions of this figure are just something that I really, really like. Now, there was a alternate version of this one released, and this one has something to do with the Speed Metal and Dr. Manhattan. So it is a blue color scheme version of the same figure. But the thing about this one, he has more of a regal feel to him, just with that blue and silver. But the head sculpt is once again awesome on this figure. Now, next at number 8, this is a figure that you must pick up. This is the Page Punchers Black Manta. Now, of course, these are $25, but you can look online and see if you could get them for more around $20. But he's not more than that. You can still find him at some retails, I think. And this figure is a beautiful figure. Once again, the proportions and the sculpt work on this are just out of this world. He's an awesome looking figure. You could get him into tons of poses, which is a lot of the reason why most of these are on here is because they're great to pose and great to take pictures with. And this is the Black Manta from the Page Punchers. Just a cool figure. He has that helmet, has all the cool thrusters, bunch of detail on him down into the little grains and textures that they put on his suit. And then he does come, of course, with his battle spear, and that one is nice as well, intricately detailed with a lot of cool little gears on it and stuff. Just a perfect fit with this Black Manta figure. Awesome job that McFarlane did on that one. Now coming in at number 7 is actually another Page Punchers, and that is the Flash from the Flash Wave. This figure is just really underappreciated. It is an awesome figure, great articulation, great sculpt work. As I said before, most of these will have intricate and detailed sculpt work. Just a beautiful figure that's fun to pose. Now he does need some paint, which is why I may be picking up another one of these to do a wash, maybe do the gold a little bit more of a shinier gold. But there's just certain things about this figure that make him a great figure. That head sculpt, awesome with the visor. If the visor would have been clear, man, this would probably be a very sought after figure. They didn't go with that translucent plastic for the visor. And another thing I really like about this figure is the transition from the wrist, from the forearm down through the wrist into the hand. It's just perfectly executed. The ball joint isn't even really sculpted, but it just fits so snugly in the hand that it just makes perfect lines from the forearm down into the palm of the hand. It's just awesome. I wish they would do this with all figures, and McFarlane would be killing it even more than he is. But yeah, this guy came in next. Another definite must-have, the Page Punchers Flash. Now this is our only collect to connect figure, but once again, this is a must-have figure. He's awesome. Now if you go online, he's only going for around $50, so that's pretty cheap for a collect to build. And this is Atrocitus. What I really like about him, once again, is those proportions. Just look at those proportions. He's just a beautifully executed figure. Tons of detail. Look at the little bead that they have sculpted out in his body, down into the boots. I mean, this is just an awesome figure. One problem is that the little shoulder guards that he wears, they're kind of loose, and if you move the head, they kind of pop off, or try and move the arms. And besides that, he's really poseable and a really awesome figure. Now I actually do have another one of these, and this one I actually added some paint. I actually glued on the shoulder guard, and that makes it where you could move the arms around and it will not pop off at all. So I kind of fixed that little problem. But I did do a lot of detailed paint work into all the creases of the suit, added a wash to the hand where you could see the ring, and added a little bit of paint to the face sculpt. But that is an awesome figure. Coming from the Blackest Night wave, that is Atrocitus, and he is kind of in the middle of the list at number 6, but an awesome figure. Now coming in at number 5, we have a really underrated figure, and that is the Batman Speeding Bullets. Now once again, this is a complete figure from the sinister looking head sculpt, and all the body proportions are nice, and then it has a lot of cool added little details to just make him a very unique figure. Now this isn't necessarily Bruce Wayne. This is actually Superman dressed as Batman, but it is an awesome figure nonetheless. Very unique cape, very unique suit design, and once again, the way the hands fit into the forearms is just immaculate. Now I know they are using this figure as the base for the coming up Black Lightning figure, But this is the original, and he is a beautiful looking figure that is speeding bullets. Coming in at number 5. Now we're getting down, narrowing down the list, but all of these figures are must-haves in your collection. They are awesome. And we'll go into number 4. Now number 4, another speedster makes the list, and that is Godspeed. Now I do not understand why a lot more people don't talk about this one. He is still, you could still get him around retail, $20, but he is a beautiful figure. The whole suit is uniquely detailed. That head sculpt is just creepy, and he's an awesome figure. Some people might say that the trunks kind of ride high and it deters from the figure, but this actually helps you when you manipulate him, that there's no gaps, in between the abdomen and the pelvis, and it just looks really clean. It just cuts a superhero form that is really what I want when I look at McFarlane figures. I want that clean line all the way around with no breaking up of the line that you see in a lot of other toy lines. They have like that T-crotch that has those gaps in between, and it's just something that I find very unappealing to my eye. Now, one thing people do say is that he is not necessarily the colors from the comics. He's more of a copper, color, but I do have my custom repainted Godspeed where I actually did him in more of a gold color, like a high gold, and he is awesome. This is like pretty much figure perfection when you're talking about proportions and design of a speedster. This gold figure is one of my favorite figures. Once you pick him up, it's really hard to put him down and to, have fun with him. So that's our next figure, Godspeed. He's a definite must-have. Now coming in at number 3, another definite must-have figure, and that is the Scarecrow from Arkham. Now, this figure isn't so much that the articulation. What it is more is the proportions and the awesome attention to detail and sculpt that they put into this figure. He just gives me that Arkham game style, with an actual figure in your hand, and he is very detailed, very menacing, awesome. Now, the head doesn't really have that much articulation because of the way the hood is, but besides that, he is so much fun to take pictures of. Trust me, if you pick this figure up, he's hard to put down just by the way he can gesture. And I mean, he has tons of cool detail. You go down to the leg and he has that cool brace for his leg. And even on the other side, they got some cool detail on the boots. That I'm a really big fan of tread and boot laces and buckles and stuff like that, and this guy really takes it to the next level. Now, I do know that is actually the gold label version, but you can still find this black version, which is more game accurate, but I prefer the brown one. And this one is, going for $20 online right now, so you can probably pick him up. Same details, same beautiful sculpt work, a little bit more eerie eyes on the black one actually, but nonetheless, he is an awesome figure to have, and an awesome figure to have no matter what your collection is based around. All right, now we're down to the runner-up, and that is going to be Lobo. Now, this figure is awesome. He's one of the very rare, like, bigger size figures, like mid-size figures, where he's not big like Atrocitus, but he's bigger than your regular size figure, like the beefy body that they use, and it is actually in proportion. A beautiful figure with beautiful detail. Now, paint once again is lacking in this one, but he was a $20 figure. I actually ended up buying 4 of these Lobos, and I'm not mad about it. I'm actually really happy about it. There is rumors that they will be releasing the Space Hog, and that is why I have an extra one just waiting in his box if they ever release that vehicle. But this is my original release one that goes just on my standard shelf. The face paint is kind of white and, not really matching the body. So I did go ahead and do a full custom repaint on mine. So this is how really he should look. This has more of the colors and gives you a little bit more feel of what the Lobo should look like. I know a lot of people have done different heads on this body, but the body, you cannot deny, is awesome. I added cool paint to all the buckles, the red stars on the skulls. I actually put a real chain on him. I fixed the face paint, which was just adding a dirty wash. And of course, nobody could forget the back part of the jacket of this figure. Woo! Just awesome. I love this repaint. This one is really fun to use for photos, add some guns with him, and he's an awesome figure. Now we're finally at number one, the most underlooked, underrated, but still available figures from McFarlane, and it is going to be Deathstroke Rebirth from McFarlane. Now this is another figure that you can still buy around retail. He is awesome. I don't know why more people do not talk about him. The proportions are beautiful. The details are awesome. Tons of little hidden details that you just do not see on a first glance. You have to always look at him and find more cool stuff. Awesome, awesome figure. Can't get enough of this Deathstroke. Of course, one big problem was that he didn't come with his holster and his gun. But besides that, articulation is awesome on this figure. If you heat him up, soften him up, and move him around, and then once you go back to articulate him again, I mean, he's just awesome. You could get him in all kinds of poses. Beautiful, beautiful figure from McFarlane. Now, of course, you know me. I ended up buying multiples of him. I think I have 3, and this is my custom version. Now, pretty much I did little detail things, like I painted his sword with a shiny silver and a gold. I actually painted his tassels on the back of his mask to give it a more comic accurate look. And besides that, I did go ahead and add the holster with the gun. The gun is removable, slips right out, and you can put it right back in there. So this is your fully complete Deathstroke figure. Awesome figure, fun to articulate, fun to use in photos. Beautiful, beautiful figure from McFarlane, and he is my number one slept on figure from McFarlane. Now, all of these figures deserve to be in everybody's collection. They are awesome. Highly recommended from me, but then again, you can make your own choices. But you guys, keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Fat Man.
Alternate version of this one released, and